haven't thought this through, so you guys can jump me if you want. I think I am most impressed by that win of any of the wins. Because one of the things that we've talked about and we have lamented about the Grizzlies, who we talk about every game that they play, one of the things we've lamented is, hey, man, when this is not played to your style of play, when this slows down, when these become free throw fest, when this becomes you run a play, we run a play, we've got to be better. Like, we can't just bitch about the refs every time. Like, some of these games, and especially when you get to the playoffs, they're going to be hard fought. They're going to turn half court. They're going to turn into free throw fest. And it can't just be where, like, yes, we would love for it to just be playing basketball, running up and down the court, and now we're playing the game out. But a lot of them will turn into free throw fest, and at that point, you're going to have to be able to play that kind of basketball game. And so I say that to say last night might have impressed me the most of the Memphis Tigers wins because they couldn't make anything. And one of the things we said, and this is when we were talking about the Clemson game, I said, we're going to know. If that game can get into the 70s and 80s, now we're going to know. Okay, we're playing in our range. But what's going to happen when you got to play in the 60s? Because some of these teams are going to be able to drag you into the mud, and you're going to have to play in some kind of war, as we said with the Grizzlies. What happens when you're having to play a game that's like in the 90s, when you're like super uncomfortable? You've got to be able to grind out wins. You've also got, that aren't going to be all-star games, where everybody's getting to fly up and down the court, and you're getting the kind of shots, and you're getting in the flow, and you're getting in transition, and you're getting a bunch of assists. Like, when it all bogs down. And last night, not only could they not make shots, that thing was in the mud.
Yes, it was.
Totally in the mud. And for them
bad.
to be able to pull that off, and Haggerty show up with the 21 in the second half, and then be able to turn up their defense, because buckets were hard to come by last night. And I just say that to say, when this thing goes on, what you don't want, and we had this in the past where we've told you, right, there were years where you get into the NCAA tournament and you run into St. Louis. There's years when you go to the NCAA tournament and you run into a Michigan State. There's years when you went to the NCAA tournament and you run into a Virginia. And it's like, this is what, like, you're going to be able to have to play one of these wars. You're going to have to be able to win one of these games where you don't get to just run up and down the court. And you don't get to out-athlete anybody.
Yeah.
And last night was one of those games, and they still won it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, because it may show how versatile your team is, bro.
Really?
Like, don't matter what style you put us in, we can figure it out. Shout out Coach Penny, by the way. I know people are going to try to hate on that. Coach Penny settled them after they got riled up in that first half.
Right.
Settle them down. Yo, let's go hoop. Second half, they come out and hoop. I think
They could not make
I'm with you.
shots.
Yeah, it lets you know how versatile the team, how versatile
If
they are.
you can win when you have a shooting night like that, that to me was more impressive than being able to run and gun with a lot of these teams, where it felt like, you're just flying up and down the court. That was a war.
Drag
That's
out.
why-
A drag
Drag
out
out.
fight. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're playing that pack line, and it's
That's why Penny scheduled him. That's why he said that last year. That's why he scheduled Clemson, too, is he scheduled Clemson and Virginia. He said it because these teams do not play how we play, and we need to be able to play against that.
And maybe the most thrilled I've been in seeing any of his post-game quotes, he was obviously, after getting that win, was on absolute cloud nine.
Yeah.
After that game. But he said, and in fact, this is, it says, Memphis picked up, this is from the Daily Memphian. Memphis picked up a Quadrant 2 win that now makes them the only team in the country with 6 or more victories in Quad 1 and Quad 2, placing it in a class of its own in college basketball. It's no wonder Hardaway felt like he was on cloud 9 afterward. And this was the quote. Man, it's like I'm dreaming, to be honest with you, because this team is so coachable. They'll do whatever I ask, and that's a blessing to be able to have that. I've had great talent, but there's been some separation. And for us, the many ways that we've won lets me know that it's possible for us to be a champion on this level if we just continue to grow. I mean, That has got to be the best quote we have ever gotten.
That's called hashtag
I'm not kidding.
maturity
Like, when
as a
has he
head
ever
coach.
talked like that?
Maturity as a head coach, man.
But
I
when
love
has he
it.
ever talked like that about it? When has he ever been that thrilled with a group of kids?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we have just been inundated with sometimes just nonsense drama over the years.
Yeah, they don't have any right now.
And it's like you watch them play and you see them you see them stay together when things are not going their way.
Yeah.
And it has made them intensely likable and I think extremely good. Dude, if you can win those kind of games, if you can win and the other thing is, look at how they rebounded from that dismal game against Arkansas State.
They hooping, bro.
They lost to Arkansas State in what could have been very easily a 20-point loss where they were just, it was just, and that could either serve as, oh no, this, and you remember we were talking about it after the game, and it's like they didn't talk to the media after the game, and it was like, oh God, are we doing this again?
Yeah.
And their response after that, what was a very embarrassing loss on your home floor, was to go and beat Clemson on the road in a 10 a.m. Central Time game, and then turn around, fly back out, go to, and even if Virginia is not Virginia, that's still a hard place to get a win.
Yeah,
Because they're going to drag you in the mud, bro.
And they still don't lose a lot.
No, they don't lose a lot, no.
At their home arena. And in a game that is exactly the kind of game that I would have told you if the score's in that range, you're in trouble.
And they figured out how to win the game.
So I think honestly, they have beaten better teams than that. But I honestly think I was most impressed with that.
I'm with you too, because also I think another thing with the Penny thing, like if you look at the guys he plays now, bro, I'm playing the best. Like maybe if I don't have players, I'm playing the best players heavy minutes. PJ Haggerty, 40 minutes. Tyrese, 38 minutes. Like y'all playing like my best players. I ain't playing around with these other dudes. I know who my dudes are. Also, I want to give a shout out to Mike Davis and all them, because he might have like a little small influence of like, yo, Penny.
There's no question.
This is how you handle these situations, right?
Yes.
Like, this dude's been around the block 1,000 times, bro.
Yep.
And now Penny's like, this is year 7. Like, he's teaching them, like, yo, this is how you handle these situations. This is how you handle this. And you can see Penny maturing as a coach, bro, in front of our eyes. And now his team playing out of their mind.
Well, and also when you have the circumstances of which have taken place, I mean, one of your theoretical rotation players who evidently you spent a ton of money on left the team right at the very beginning of the season.
Yeah.
You lost all your coaches a month before
Yeah.
the season started.
Oh, we were
and
all
so to
saying
be able
this
to
was a
rally all
disaster.
this together,
We were all saying before the season started that this was a debacle with how it was going.
you just can't lose all your assistants
fired
6 weeks
everybody,
before.
yeah.
6 weeks before the season, you cleared out your bench, and then right before the season, one of the big transfers that you got is just AWOL.
going crazy on Twitter and everything.
Crazy.
Yeah, you like, bro, we were saying it like, yo.
What
this
is happening?
Is it about to happen again, bro? Then they come into the season, they look like a totally different team.
And
Togetherness.
that backcourt is awesome.
It is.
Okay,
They look good so
Ashley
far.
and Hunter.
So this is the best
And
back-
Rogers could. Rogers could not make a shot. Thank God he hit that free throw.
Yeah.
But my God, he couldn't hit a shot to save
They
his life.
look great so far.
Yes.
They do.
Yeah, hey.
They also, at this point last season, look great.
Oh,
we're not doing
God.
this.
Here we go.
You hating ass
Oh, Johnny Eeyore has to show
not
up.
Eeyore.
He looks at the thing.
Yeah, you are Eeyore.